My name is Carolyn, and I talk to the spirit world. Travel with me to a dimension filled with love, light, and joyful surprises. Welcome to Carolyn's Psychic Playroom. Hi everyone, Carolyn Wilkins here. I am thrilled to welcome you to another edition of Carolyn's Psychic Playroom. As you can see, I am still not back in the studio. I'm home with my books and with my special doll from Nigeria. Beautiful. But nonetheless, we're beginning to kind of get used to this whole quarantine routine, unfortunately. And it looks like, at least for the next little while, I'll be recording these episodes from home. I'm very excited, however, this week to welcome to the Psychic Playroom a very special guest, Yamile Yamoonyah. She is a priestess, a medium, a psychic, a healer, and her specialty is in teaching people how to connect with their spirit guides. She's known as a spirit guide medium, which is a completely unique and different offering, and she's written a brand new book that is coming out on Hay House Publishing in October. The book is called The 7 Types of Spirit Guide, and I'm going to be talking with Yamile a little bit later in the program, and you're going to have a chance to find out not only how to connect with your spirit guides, but also how to connect and tap in with your own creative spirit. If you've got a book inside of you, if you have a piece of music, if you have a picture that you've always been thinking, I would like to create, now's the time. And I'm going to make sure that every guest on the Psychic Playroom from now going forward offers us some tips on how to enhance creativity, how to grow it, and how to become even more effective if you are already creative, how to even ramp that up to the next level. So before I bring Yamile on, I would like to just offer you a little psychic reading for the day. As you know, I normally do psychic readings here on the Playroom, and previously I've asked for listeners to write in ahead of time and ask questions that I then answer with my tarot readings. This week, I'm going to be simply offering a reading to the collective using my Andinkara cards. These cards utilize symbols that come from Ghana. They're sacred symbols, and someone got the bright idea to put them on a tarot card. So they're a deck of playing cards with these symbols on. I'm going to shuffle them. I'm going to pull a card, and as I'm shuffling, I want you to just concentrate and think, what message would I like to receive from the universe? Because this message that I bring through will be something, my intention is that it will be applicable to all. So think about, as I bring this message, how it may apply to you. So I'm shuffling the cards, I'm spreading them out, and now I am going to offer this card, which is love. Okay, love, universal, the heart. There's not a whole lot needs to be explained about love. We all know love. We recognize it when we see it. But that said, I want to talk about a special kind of love that I think is not always clearly understood in our culture. I'm being led now to talk about what in Christian terms is called agape love. And that is the love that is beyond just the selfish love of the love you may have for your family or a husband, wife, etc. This is a love that is more of a universal love. This is a love that is in some ways considered the greatest love because it is universal and we give it freely without conditions. This is the unconditional love that we offer. So when we see a stranger hurting and we go to help them, that comes from that place of agape love. We may not even know them, we may not even like them, but something in us rises up to offer this gift of love, the agape, the big love that we are capable of. And I do feel now in our current society and in these current times, there is a lot of need for this kind of love. We got a whole lot of people feeling at odds with each other, people objectifying each other, demonizing each other. And what we need to remember is that even no matter how much we may agree or disagree with a person, we must always do so from a place of love and compassion and not allow ourselves to fall into the trap of demonizing, objectifying, name calling. None of those things are helpful, and there's a whole lot of that flying around right now. So, what I'm being led to speak on by Spirit is the idea that yes, love your family, love your husband, your wife, your children, etc., etc., but also make room in your heart for this big love, this unconditional love, this love for total strangers, this love for people with whom you disagree. Make room in your heart. Doesn't mean you have to agree with them, doesn't mean you have to condone them, but what it does mean is that you understand that they, like you, are a spark of divine light. We all are. And when it's all said and done, we're all going to go home to the same Spirit. So that is my little speech for today. Now, oh, one more thing. So, in future episodes of the Psychic Playroom, I will be going back to doing live readings for people who want readings, like psychic reading. If you have questions, if you're at the crossroads in life, if you need a healing, if you need help, if you need advice, if you need guidance, write to me at psychicplayroom@gmail.com, and I will be doing some readings on the next episode for people who have written in. So if you're interested, now's the time. Write me psychicplayroom@gmail.com. Meanwhile, we're going to roll on to my guest, the amazing and beautiful Yamile Yamoonyah. My special guest today is Yamile Yamoonyah, and she is a medium, a psychic, an author, a priestess of wisdom and magic, and she's going to talk about her new book, which is about how to talk to your spirit guides and so forth. But she's also just a super creative and fabulous person. She's talking to us, if I'm not mistaken, from London, England today. So say hello, Yamile.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Carolyn, for having me on your show. I'm super excited about to be here.
Yay! So tell me a little bit about what you do. I gave you this huge, broad, massive, overarching description, but tell the people a little bit about your work because I know that you're a healer and you work with people in that capacity.
So I call myself a spirit guide medium, which means that I can connect, well, sense other people's spirit guides and give people messages from these cosmic helpers. So, and I do one-on-one readings, and during the readings, I give them the messages and people can ask questions, and sometimes we do healings. So it depends on what the guides want to do really during the reading. Yeah, and that's what I do.
Oh, that's fabulous. That's fabulous. And you have just recently published a book with Hay House. Tell the people about that.
So yeah, this is super exciting. My first book ever. And it took me 9 months to write, and now it's finally here and it's gonna be birthed. It's called The 7 Types of Spirit Guide, and it's being published by Hay House, and you can already pre-order it. So it's very exciting.
That is so wonderful. So I know that in my own work as a medium and psychic, many people come and they're super curious about their spirit guides. And we hear all kinds of things about the different kinds of spirit guides, and everybody wants to know who's mine? How can I find mine? And I know that your book is all about this, and it's a giant book, a couple of hundred pages. So I'm not going to ask you to run it all down, but very quickly, if you could just talk a little bit about the different kinds and yeah, how people might connect with their guide or find out more about their guide.
Sure. So I want to preface that by saying that I wrote the book partially because I feel that in our spiritual community, we are still too much um, thinking old school, that spirit guides are just a very specific kind of being. And I thought, well, what about like the people in this culture or in this spiritual tradition? They have other kinds of spirit guides. Some people work with star beings, some people work with angels, some people work with ascended masters. But when we talk about spirit guides, that's usually not all included. So I wanted to write a book that included these 7 types of spirit guides that my guides taught me about, that shamans and mediums and priests and witches and all kinds of other spirit workers and everyday people across cultures and throughout human history have worked with. So that's why I came up with the idea. And so what's in the book is basically, first of all, I take you through like some mindset shifts that you have to make so you know how to communicate with guides. And then there's a quiz that you can take, which shows you which of the 7 types of spirit guides you have. And then I go through all these 7 types, and I go through their characteristics, what gifts they bring, what kind of challenges you could encounter, and how people around the world from different cultures and spiritual traditions have worked with that type of spirit guide, and how that can help you to connect yourself with your personal guide. And then towards the end, I explain how you can then actually take the step and connect through a DIY spirit guide ceremony. And I really detail how to do that. So that's what the book is about. And the 7 different types are angels, and most people know angels, so I don't have to explain that. Then we have ancestors, and ancestors can be, for example, grandparents, but it can also be ancestors from hundreds or thousands of years back, or it could even be ancestors from past lives. And then we have animal guides. These are not like the individual soul of like one animal, but it's more um, the spirit of an entire species. Then we have star beings, otherwise known as aliens, but especially when I work with clients one-on-one, I don't want to freak them out, so I call them star beings, because a lot of people have watched scary Hollywood movies, and that's not what it's about. And also, when it comes to star beings, it also includes the planets and the stars themselves, because they are beings, we can communicate with them. So it's a little bit bigger than just aliens. Then we have ascended masters, who were once humans here on Earth, but they reached enlightenment and left the reincarnation cycle. And so now they're helping from the other side and are very wise beings. Then we have deities, so that's gods and goddesses from all over the world, all cultures. And last but not least, we have nature spirits. So that would be elves, fairies, gnomes, and all the other names they are known under all over the world.
That is fascinating. And I have to say, one very special aspect of your book that I really enjoyed was that you did make a tip of the hat to guides from all different cultures. So often, I know myself as an African American spiritual seeker, if you will, I can remember there was a time when I would go into the New Age bookstore or whatever, and everything would be about, you know, to put it bluntly, white people. The angels were white. They tended toward blondness, actually, a lot of blue
And blue
eyes.
eyes.
Yeah. And I love blondes and blue eyes. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
But I kept looking for, but where are my people? You know, people, spirituality is a worldwide thing. There's
Yeah.
spirituality in every single culture all over the world, including Africa, Asia, South America, etc. And all of these cultures have their own guides, masters, and helper beings. So I love that you in your book really made an effort to include a broader picture, both for the reader who may be coming from a different cultural background, but also to educate any reader who's interested. Because I do know that for myself, the Orishas who are come from the Yoruba tradition, there are many European descended people who also worship Orisha. There
Yeah.
are people in Asia who are connected to the Orisha. And so it's not some type of narrow silo, you come from this, you must only worship that. And I think it's very important to present it to everyone. I know that you yourself mention in the book your connection to the African goddess Yamaya, and that is, as you know, a goddess to whom I am I feel very, very connected. And I actually went through an initiation to receive more of her mysteries. I don't want to say received her mysteries because I don't think anyone gets them all. But
No, no.
uh, anyway, I'm super excited about this book. I think you've done a marvelous job. Tell people again, when is the book coming out?
So the book is ready for pre-order September 13th. And you can go to the sevenspiritguide.com to pre-order it, and then you'll get some bonuses too. One is that you get to do a spirit guide ceremony with me.
Wow, how
Yeah.
cool is that? And will it be like in the digital world, I assume?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah,
But
so everyone from all over the world can participate. It's going to be a group ceremony and it's going to be super fun, definitely.
wow, oh, that sounds amazing. And we hope it's massive. So if you're sitting on the fence about the book or going, oh, sounds interesting, I don't know, you need to have pre-ordered it by September 13th. Is
That's
that
when it
right?
starts. That's when this pre-order starts. So you can start pre-ordering on September 13th
Okay.
until October 13th.
That month. So if
Yeah.
you don't get it in that month, you're going to miss the
Yeah.
special ceremony.
Yeah.
You want to do this. But you're such an interesting person, and we do have a few extra minutes left. I would also like to talk to you about some of the other things you do. I was fascinated to learn that in addition to your work as a healer and author and all these things, a medium and psychic, that you also have a business or had a business. You're going to tell us about this, that in which you worked in the creative arts. And as you know, my program, I'm always interested in talking to people about this intersection between creativity and spirituality, psychic ability, this kind of thing. Tell me a little bit about your work in the creative area.
So I had this business. I don't do it anymore, but
Okay.
so I got into it because wow, it's a long story. Obviously my life story, but so where do I start? Yeah, so I was for a while I was an artist myself. So I would paint and I would draw and these kinds of things.
I
And
knew it. I knew it. And it goes back to my theory that many psychics are also highly creative, even if they don't call themselves artists per se.
yeah,
And likewise, many creative people, musicians, artists, etc., also possess this psychic connection.
yeah.
So, how did your art, what kind of art did you do when you were doing?
Well, I called it intuitive art, and I think
Mhm.
the intersection between creativity and spirituality is that we, for both activities, you need to open your mind and be perceptive so that inspiration can flow in, or the spirit world can flow in and work with you. And so nowadays, even though I don't make art anymore, I see that phase as almost like a training for my work now, because when I made art, I didn't think, okay, I'm going to draw this and then I drew it. No, I just had a blank piece of paper and I would just start and see what happens. And that was the best training to be a psychic or a medium ever, because you learn to trust. You learn to trust that what flows through you will become a piece of art. And so, yeah, that's what I did, intuitive art. And then I didn't know how to sell my art. I was a huge introvert. I didn't see myself going to galleries and be like, can you please like represent me? Nowadays, I wouldn't have a problem with that. Back in the day, I was like, no, I can't do that. So I figured, why not sell it on the internet? And this was MySpace times, 2006 maybe.
Yes.
And I saw people posting their art on MySpace, and I was like, oh, that's a great idea. I'll do that too. And then, of course, with MySpace, you could like change your MySpace page with little snippets of HTML, and that's how I started learning about like internet stuff, like HTML, how to make it look nice, all these kinds of things. And then I realized I need a real website. I started setting up my own website. I discovered WordPress. I learned WordPress. I had no clue what I was doing, and I didn't have the money to hire someone to do it for me. So I just had to learn. And then once I figured out how to set up a WordPress website, I was like, oh, I can do this for other artists. So I started making websites for other artists. Then I realized, okay, these artists don't know how to do the marketing. I don't either. So I learned, and then I basically shared what I learned. And that's how I started this business, helping artists sell their art online. And
That
yeah.
is fabulous. I'm going to stop you there. I know you were in mid narrative, but I just
That's okay.
wanted to pick up on a couple of themes because I do feel this is super important what you said about the arts being a way of learning to trust and the creative process, because I have found that for myself as a musician, even now my current discipline is that I sit at the piano and I just let the spirit world come through and tell me what they want to play. If it's a song, if it's a free improvisation, no song, if it's fast, if it's slow, if it's happy, if it's sad, I really try. And after decades of training in a music conservatories and so forth, it's not that easy actually to let go and put it to the side. It's sort of almost better to be self-taught in a way. But in the last few minutes that we have, it just occurred to me, many of my listeners on this show will be interested in developing either their own creative abilities and being able to tap into this wonderful world of spirit, which I do believe is available to all of us, regardless whether you call yourself, quote, creative or not. But what tips would you have to offer to someone who would be interested in connecting, making a deeper connection with the flow, either as a psychic or as a creative in any field? What are some thoughts, just very quickly?
There are two things that you can do. One is if you want to go more down the creative route, which can work for pursuing the creative, your creative ideas or connecting to spirit, is really just sit down and start doodling. Take a piece of paper, set your timer for 20 minutes and just doodle and see what happens. Don't judge what comes out. It might not be like the next Van Gogh or whatever, but it doesn't matter. Just doodle, maybe take several colors so you can change colors and just doodle for 20 minutes. Do that like 7 days in a row or every second day, and you will see how much easier it becomes and how your brain settles down and doesn't want to control everything you do. The second thing you can do, which I love doing, is if you go for a walk, don't decide where you're going to go. Let your intuition or spirit lead you. So basically you come to the next crossroads, you just take the one that your intuition tells you to go down. Then you do the same every time, or like in the woods, even better, in nature, just see where it leads you. And that's another way to really trust your intuition, trust your spirit guides, trust the spirit world, and see what happens. Yeah.
Oh, that is fabulous. Two wonderful suggestions. So thank you so much. So as we're beginning to kind of wrap up this interview, I want once again for you to just tell us, Yamile, about your book very quickly. It's a wonderful book. I recommend it if you are at all curious about. Here's a question for you. People often say, well, how do I know if I'm psychic? Well, am I psychic? I don't know. I don't. I'm not like those people on TV. How do you have any comments about that very quickly?
Yes, I think we are all psychic. We can all do mediumship work in the sense that we can connect to our own loved ones or our spirit guides. And just like everybody can dance. Maybe you're not gonna be a professional dancer, but you can dance, and just it's the same thing. We can all connect. We can all connect to our spirit guides. So don't ever give up. And like every single thing that's worth doing, it takes practice. So don't just like go on YouTube and try it once with a spirit guide meditation, for example, that you find there. Keep practicing, learn about like the basics, the things that you need to know, the skills, and then just keep going and you will learn it. Absolutely.
Oh, that's fabulous. So once again, Yamila's book is called
The 7 Types of Spirit Guide, published by Hay House, and you can pre-order it at the7spiritguide.com.
and tell them about your website. Do you have a special website or is that the one?
So
Seven.
my website generally is thespiritguidemedium.com, and then the7spiritguide.com is specifically for the book, but it's on my website.
Thespiritguidemedium.com.
Yes.
Wonderful. And hopefully I did not butcher your name too badly,
No.
Yamile Yamoonyah.
Yeah.
And she is, as you see, a spirit guide medium, an author, an all-around wise woman, creative, and it has been my honor and pleasure to connect with you today. And so the book comes out one last time, 7 Types of Spirit Guide. It comes out to buy your hard copy October 13th, to pre-order on September 13th onward. And if you pre-order, tell them one more time what they're going to get.
Then you'll get a spirit guide ceremony with me, which we will do in October with a group of people, and I will teach you how to connect with your spirit guides.
How fun. So Thank you so much, Yamile, for coming on my show, and best of luck with your book. And if you have questions about the book, feel free either to write me or you can write to thespiritguidemedium.com, and Yamile will be happy to take your questions. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carolyn.
I hope you enjoyed that interview. I think she's wonderful and full of all kinds of amazing things, both for you to use in your spiritual journey and also for you to use in your creative journey. So, as we're coming to the end of another episode of Carolyn's Psychic Playroom, I want to remind you that if you would like to receive a psychic reading from me live on the show, write to me at psychicplayroom@gmail.com, psychicplayroom@gmail.com, and I will put you on the list for a reading. I'm not going to do them all the time, but when I do them, you will be on the list, and I will look forward to hearing from you. In the meantime, wishing you the most wonderful and blessed of weeks. I'll be back next week with a new show. So, see you soon. Bye for now. Peace and blessings.
Thoughts are things with the energy to make life better for you and for me. Touch the light.